Harry is going bankrupt. This is a guy that needs $25 million now. Speaking exclusively on my Talk TV show, the fearless business and royal expert Hilary Fordwich, who knows about finances, has said the prince is in big financial trouble. She tells me that he made money from the book Spare and the Netflix deal, but the cash is running out, and it's running out fast, and his long-term future is bleak.
There was a moment, somewhere between the glittering lights of Hollywood and the cold stone walls of Buckingham Palace, when one decision may have changed everything for Prince Harry, for Meghan Markle, and perhaps even for the future of the British royal family itself. Because according to new financial analysis, the man once known as the spare to the throne may now be facing something far more dangerous than royal exile. The possibility that time, money, and public goodwill are all running out at exactly the same moment. And if that is true, one question suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. What happens when a prince runs out of options? For years, the world watched Prince Harry and Meghan Markle present what appeared to be the ultimate modern royal escape story, a carefully crafted narrative built on freedom, independence, California sunshine, multimillion-dollar media contracts, exclusive interviews, global influence, and the promise that life outside the institution would not simply survive, but thrive beyond anything the monarchy could ever offer. Yet in 2026, that narrative is facing its most serious challenge yet, because behind the cameras, behind the podcasts, behind the Netflix specials, and behind the glossy image projected across Montecito, reports now suggest that Prince Harry may urgently need $25 million just to restore the financial cushion that once made the Sussex empire look untouchable. And when experienced business analysts begin using phrases like financial life support, the story stops being celebrity gossip and starts becoming something far more serious. So ask yourself this: if even royal blood cannot protect a fortune, what exactly is happening behind closed doors? According to business expert Hilary Ford, whose recent analysis has sent shockwaves across royal circles, the financial trajectory surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle paints a dramatically different picture from the image many viewers have been sold since the Sussex departure in 2020. At what insiders describe as the peak of Sussex commercial success, after the publication of Spare, after major streaming agreements, and after inheritance assets were factored in, the estimated financial position reportedly approached $60 million. But now, according to those same analysts, that figure may have fallen much closer to $35 million, creating a gap that is no longer theoretical, but operational. That $25 million difference is not simply missing wealth. According to the analysis, that gap represents the exact amount needed to restore stability before fixed costs begin doing irreversible damage. And when numbers begin replacing headlines, narratives suddenly become much harder to control. Because while the headlines focused on freedom, the bills never stopped coming. The Montecito estate purchased by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle reportedly came with a mortgage close to $10 million, with monthly payments estimated around $100,000, before property taxes, before estate maintenance, before staffing, and before private security costs that some reports claim may reach $4 to $5 million every single year.
Well, they wanted their cake and to eat it too, and hypocritical Harry, obviously they declared their worldwide privacy to a long time ago. I remember at the time thinking, while it was at that juncture a dreadful loss for them to have left the royal family, and I covered their wedding, they were 15 deep in the streets of Windsor and everybody was so effusive, I thought, you know what?
Add private schooling, public relations teams, travel expenses, brand consultants, litigation costs, and lifestyle overheads, and suddenly the fairy tale of royal independence begins to look less like liberation, and more like a business model under pressure. So here is the question nobody inside Hollywood wants to answer. How long can even celebrity status outrun mathematics? And that is where the story becomes even more uncomfortable for Prince Harry, because according to multiple reports, the income side of the Sussex equation may be shrinking at the exact moment expenses remain painfully fixed. The Spotify partnership ended. Reports suggest planned projects connected to Netflix have narrowed significantly. Public speaking fees, once rumored to target 7 figures, are now being compared against standard business speakers charging similar or even higher rates. Meanwhile, corporate sponsorships connected to Sussex-associated initiatives appear to be becoming harder, not easier, to secure. In other words, the platform that once promised unlimited independence may now be facing the one thing no brand can easily survive: declining momentum. And while all of this unfolds thousands of miles away in California, back in Britain, something equally powerful appears to be happening inside the monarchy itself. Because as Prince William, the future king, continues strengthening public support alongside Catherine, Princess of Wales, And as King Charles III continues protecting the institution during one of the most sensitive chapters of his reign, many royal watchers now believe the distance between the House of Windsor and the Sussex brand is no longer temporary. It may be strategic. But if the financial pressure is real, and if the palace doors are quietly closing at the exact same time, then the next question may be the most explosive of all. What happens when personal survival, public image, and royal history collide at the same moment? And that is where this story changes completely. Before we go deeper into what insiders are now calling the most dangerous chapter yet for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, make sure you subscribe, because the next part reveals why Prince William, the future king, may already be preparing for a royal future that no longer includes the Duke of Sussex. And what palace insiders are quietly saying now changes everything. If the first warning sign was financial pressure, then what happened next may be even more unsettling. Because according to analysts now studying the Sussex operation as if it were a failing corporation rather than a celebrity brand, the real crisis surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may not begin with missing money at all. It may begin with something far more revealing. Something that experienced executives often notice before balance sheets ever collapse. And that is the people quietly walking away. And once you see the numbers behind that pattern, one uncomfortable question suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. What do insiders know that the public still does not? Because while headlines continued focusing on podcast deals, streaming contracts, carefully staged appearances, and lifestyle branding, business expert Hilary Ford reportedly began looking at something much less glamorous but infinitely more telling: employee retention. According to Ford's analysis, a healthy company with competent leadership often maintains staff retention rates above 90%, especially when the brand carries global recognition, unlimited media access, and commercial opportunity. Yet according to the figures now circulating in business commentary, the Sussex operation may be functioning at a retention rate closer to 3.7%, a number that, if accurate, would not merely raise concerns. It would trigger alarm inside almost any serious boardroom. And when staff members do not stay, experienced investors do not ask what happened to the employees. Experienced investors ask what is happening at the top. So ask yourself this. If Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were building the modern global empire many supporters once imagined, why would experienced communications executives, senior advisors, branding specialists, and operational staff reportedly keep disappearing from the very machine designed to build that empire? Why would talented professionals, many of whom could have built careers around the Sussex name, allegedly leave after such short periods? And perhaps most importantly, why are those departures happening while Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, continue projecting something completely different? Consistency, structure, and institutional calm. That contrast may be more important than many viewers realize, because while California became the stage for reinvention, Britain quietly became the stage for consolidation. Inside the royal institution, Prince William appears to be strengthening relationships not just with the British public, but with international political figures, diplomatic circles, military leadership, and long-established palace advisors, all while Catherine, Princess of Wales, continues reinforcing the public image of trust, stability, and generational continuity. In other words, while one brand appears to be fighting to preserve momentum, another appears to be quietly preparing for succession. And that raises a fascinating question. Is this simply coincidence? Or is the monarchy already planning for a future that looks dramatically different from the one many once expected? But the financial story surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle becomes even more revealing when you look beyond staffing and into the partnerships that once promised unlimited growth. Reports suggest the Spotify relationship collapsed after only one major season. Reports also suggest development pipelines connected to streaming projects may have narrowed significantly compared with original expectations. Public speaking opportunities, once positioned as premium royal access, reportedly no longer command the same market energy analysts initially predicted. And in the business world, declining partnerships rarely happen in isolation. When one platform pulls back, others begin watching. When two platforms pull back, entire industries begin recalculating risk. So let me ask you directly. If you were a global corporation looking for a long-term ambassador, would you invest in headlines? Or would you invest in consistency? Would you choose controversy? Or would you choose predictability? Because according to reports surrounding Sussex-affiliated charitable and corporate initiatives, even sponsorship discussions may now be facing greater scrutiny than ever before, with some commentators suggesting the Sussex brand carries not just influence, but increasingly complex reputational calculations. And once brand managers begin using the word risk, the conversation changes from popularity to liability. Meanwhile, back inside Buckingham Palace, the optics continue moving in a very different direction. King Charles III remains at the center of institutional continuity. Prince William, the future king, continues appearing more presidential with every international engagement. Catherine, Princess of Wales, continues commanding extraordinary public loyalty. And when polling numbers, diplomatic invitations, and media narratives all begin pointing in the same direction, experienced palace observers start noticing something that rarely happens by accident. The future may already be choosing its center of gravity. But if the corporate world is stepping back from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle at the exact moment the monarchy is strengthening around Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, then the next question becomes almost unavoidable. What happens when financial pressure begins colliding with family history? And trust me, what surfaced next may be the most personal chapter yet. If you are enjoying this deep royal investigation, subscribe now, because in the next part we uncover why some reports suggest the growing distance between Prince William and Prince Harry may no longer be emotional, temporary, or symbolic. It may be strategic, deliberate, and far more permanent than anyone imagined. What makes financial pressure dangerous is not simply the money itself, because history has shown that powerful families, global celebrities, and even political dynasties can survive temporary financial setbacks, restructure their assets, and rebuild stronger than before. But what history also shows, and what palace insiders have quietly understood for generations, is that financial pressure becomes truly explosive when money problems begin colliding with family wounds that were never fully healed in the first place. And that is exactly why what is unfolding between Prince William, the future king, and Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, may now be far bigger than contracts, headlines, or California branding, because according to multiple royal commentators, this may no longer be a family disagreement. This may be the quiet construction of a permanent royal separation. And if that is true, one deeply uncomfortable question suddenly emerges. Has the future king already made the hardest decision of all? For years, the world viewed Prince William and Prince Harry through the emotional lens of shared tragedy, shared duty, and the unforgettable image of two young princes walking behind the coffin of their mother, a moment that permanently shaped how millions of people around the world connected emotionally with both brothers. That shared history once made the relationship between Prince William and Prince Harry feel almost unbreakable, almost immune to politics, institution, marriage, and distance. But as the years passed, and as royal responsibilities evolved, something far more complicated began emerging beneath the surface. Because while Prince William moved deeper into the architecture of monarchy, succession, military leadership, diplomatic credibility, and long-term institutional duty, Prince Harry moved toward media disclosure, commercial independence, public interviews, memoir revelations, and increasingly personal storytelling. And at some point, many royal watchers believe those two paths stopped running parallel and started moving in opposite directions. Now ask yourself this. If you were Prince William, the future king, responsible not only for a family but for the future credibility of the monarchy itself, how would you respond if private conversations became global headlines, if family disagreements became streaming content, and if confidential institutional relationships suddenly became best-selling memoir chapters? Would you keep extending trust? Or would you begin quietly building distance? That question may explain why reports surrounding recent palace decisions have captured so much attention, because according to multiple royal commentators, Prince William has increasingly adopted what insiders describe as a long-game strategy, one built not on public confrontation, but on quiet exclusion, strategic positioning, and carefully controlled access. Reports suggest invitations have become more selective. Family gatherings appear increasingly structured around core working royals. Public appearances continue reinforcing Catherine, Princess of Wales, Prince William, and the next generation as the emotional center of the institution. And when an institution as old as the monarchy begins reshaping public optics, experienced observers know one thing: optics are rarely accidental. At the same time, King Charles III appears to be balancing two realities that few monarchs have ever faced at once: the personal reality of being a father to Prince Harry, and the institutional reality of protecting the crown during one of the most scrutinized eras in modern royal history. Public appearances by King Charles III continue reinforcing stability, diplomacy, and continuity, while reports suggest private communication between King Charles III and Prince Harry may be increasingly limited. Some insiders claim the conversations that do happen are now highly structured, carefully timed, and strategically managed. And if even family communication is becoming institutionalized, then the deeper question becomes impossible to ignore. Are we watching a father protecting a son, or a king protecting a dynasty? Meanwhile, as this quiet royal restructuring unfolds, Catherine, Princess of Wales, continues becoming one of the strongest symbols of continuity in the modern monarchy. Polling numbers remain extraordinarily strong. Public sympathy surrounding Catherine, Princess of Wales, remains deeply emotional. International coverage continues presenting Kate Middleton as not simply a popular royal, but as a stabilizing force for the next chapter of the crown. And when public affection, institutional trust, and succession planning all begin orbiting the same figures, the message becomes increasingly clear. The center of royal gravity may already have shifted permanently. So where does that leave Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Because if commercial pressure is rising in California, and if emotional distance is growing inside the House of Windsor, then the Sussex strategy may be approaching its most difficult crossroads yet. Some reports suggest future monetization opportunities could require even deeper royal disclosures, even more personal revelations, and even stronger emotional storytelling to maintain commercial value. But every new disclosure may also widen the distance between Prince Harry and Prince William, and every widened distance may reduce the possibility of genuine reconciliation. So let me ask you directly. If you were Prince Harry, would you protect your financial future? Or would you protect your family legacy? Because what surfaced next suggests that this story may no longer be about damaged relationships at all. It may be about survival, succession, and who ultimately controls the final royal narrative. And trust me, the next chapter changes everything. If you're enjoying this deep royal investigation, subscribe now, because in the next part we uncover why some analysts believe the greatest pressure on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry may not come from the monarchy, the media, or the public, but from inside the Sussex business model itself. If the widening distance between Prince William and Prince Harry has been emotional, strategic, and deeply personal, then what emerges next may be even more consequential, because according to analysts now studying the Sussex operation through a purely commercial lens, the most dangerous threat facing Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may no longer be the British press, palace insiders, or public criticism at all. It may be the brutal mathematics of a business model that appears increasingly dependent on momentum, visibility, and constant reinvention. And when a brand built on global attention begins showing signs of slowing down, one uncomfortable question suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. What happens when the headlines become smaller, but the expenses stay exactly the same? Because this is where the story surrounding Meghan Markle becomes especially fascinating to business observers, media strategists, and even some former palace advisors, not because Meghan Markle lacks marketability, and certainly not because Meghan Markle lacks global recognition, but because many analysts now believe the gap between Meghan Markle's potential and Meghan Markle's current commercial execution may be one of the biggest untold stories in modern celebrity branding. Reports suggest that Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, still commands extraordinary name recognition across North America, Britain, Australia, and large parts of Europe, while fashion influence, public image, and media curiosity surrounding Meghan Markle remain commercially valuable. Yet according to business commentary, some of the recent product strategies linked to the Sussex ecosystem have raised difficult questions about positioning, demand, and long-term audience connection. So let me ask you something. If you had global recognition, royal association, Hollywood visibility, and access to millions of loyal followers, would you build a brand around limited appearances and carefully selected products? Or would you build an empire designed to scale for decades? Because according to analysts cited in recent commentary, some of the recent commercial decisions associated with Meghan Markle have left seasoned business professionals asking exactly that question. Reports suggest certain product launches may have signaled inventory pressure rather than overwhelming consumer demand, while others believe the broader Sussex brand still has not fully aligned with what the market may actually want from Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, at this stage of global recognition. And when commercial execution becomes inconsistent, something else begins happening behind the scenes, because investors do not simply study headlines. Investors study patterns. Investors study conversion rates, audience loyalty, repeat buyers, sponsor confidence, staff continuity, and strategic clarity. And according to analysts now examining the Sussex structure, some of those patterns may be raising deeper questions than the public initially realized. Reports suggest major media partnerships have narrowed. Reports suggest corporate sponsors may be exercising greater caution. Reports suggest philanthropic initiatives connected to the Sussex ecosystem may no longer carry the same institutional momentum many expected during the early years following royal departure. And once momentum begins slowing across multiple categories at the same time, the question becomes far bigger than any single contract. Now compare that reality with what is happening on the other side of the Atlantic, Because while commercial uncertainty appears to be creating pressure around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the institutional machine surrounding Prince William, the future king, appears to be moving with remarkable precision. Every public appearance by Prince William appears increasingly presidential. Every major appearance by Catherine, Princess of Wales, continues reinforcing trust, resilience, and emotional connection. Every carefully managed appearance by King Charles III strengthens the image of continuity, duty, and constitutional legitimacy. And when one side is forced to chase relevance, while the other side appears to be inheriting authority, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. So ask yourself this: if audiences begin seeing Prince William as the future, and seeing Catherine, Princess of Wales, as stability, where exactly does that leave Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in the long-term royal conversation? Because according to some commentators, the greatest commercial risk facing the Sussex brand may not be public criticism. It may be cultural replacement. It may be the reality that audiences eventually move on, advertisers move on, sponsors move on, and institutions move on. And once a brand becomes dependent on constant disruption, what happens when disruption no longer feels new? That question becomes even more serious when you factor in legal expenses, property overhead, security commitments, international travel, public relations costs, staffing structures, and ongoing litigation connected to the Sussex ecosystem. According to financial commentary, the fixed cost model surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may continue consuming reserve capital regardless of public visibility, regardless of streaming headlines, and regardless of media cycles. In business terms, that means the clock may continue ticking even when cameras stop rolling. And when the clock starts becoming measurable, strategy becomes survival. So here's the question I want every viewer to think about. If Prince Harry and Meghan Markle truly need a second reinvention, what would that reinvention even look like? A return to private life? A deeper media strategy? More royal disclosures? Or something nobody sees coming? Because what surfaced next may be the most explosive chapter of all, and according to some palace watchers, the next decision made by Prince Harry could determine not only the future of the Sussex brand, but the final shape of the royal family itself. If you're enjoying this investigation, subscribe now, because in the final chapter we uncover why some insiders believe Prince William may already be preparing for the one scenario that could permanently redefine the future of the monarchy. And once you hear it, you may never look at this royal story the same way again. If everything we have uncovered so far points toward financial pressure, institutional distance, and a brand fighting to preserve momentum, then what emerges in this final chapter may be the most consequential development of all, because according to royal commentators, business analysts, and observers who have followed the House of Windsor for decades, the real story may no longer be whether Prince Harry and Meghan Markle can rebuild commercial momentum in California. The real story may be whether Prince William, the future king, has already begun preparing the monarchy for a future in which the Sussex chapter is no longer a temporary disruption, but a permanently closed royal file. And if that possibility is even partially true, one final question suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. Are we witnessing the quiet end of one royal era and the carefully engineered beginning of another? Because when historians eventually look back on this extraordinary chapter involving Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, King Charles III, Prince William, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, the moment they may focus on most will not necessarily be a television interview, a memoir release, a podcast controversy, or a streaming documentary. Historians may instead focus on something far quieter, far more strategic, and far more revealing: the gradual restructuring of visibility, access, symbolism, and succession. Because over the last several years, every major institutional signal appears to be pointing in one increasingly clear direction. Public engagements continue centering Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. International coverage continues presenting Kate Middleton as the emotional anchor of the modern crown. Diplomatic appearances continue reinforcing King Charles III as the guardian of continuity. And at the same time, the distance between the institution and the Sussex operation appears to be becoming not louder, but quieter. And royal watchers know something very important about silence inside the monarchy, because silence inside the monarchy rarely means confusion. Silence inside the monarchy often means preparation. Silence inside the monarchy often means decisions have already been made behind the walls of Buckingham Palace long before the public ever hears about them. So ask yourself this: if Prince William, the future king, truly believes that the long-term survival of the monarchy depends on trust, discipline, discretion, and generational stability, How likely is it that Prince William would risk reintroducing uncertainty at the exact moment the crown is entering one of its most sensitive transitions in modern history? That question becomes even more powerful when you examine public sentiment. Reports suggest public favorability surrounding Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, remains exceptionally strong, while support for the broader institution continues showing remarkable resilience even during periods of controversy, illness, leadership transition, and relentless media scrutiny. In other words, the monarchy may already have what every institution ultimately needs: a trusted next generation. And when an institution already has a trusted future, the urgency to repair old fractures becomes much smaller. So the uncomfortable question becomes unavoidable. Does reconciliation still serve the institution, or does distance now serve it better? Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in California, the business model surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle appears to be entering a phase where every future decision carries higher stakes than ever before. Reports suggest reserve capital may no longer be viewed as limitless. Reports suggest brand partnerships may be facing greater scrutiny. Reports suggest every new project, every media appearance, every product launch, and every public statement may now carry more financial pressure, more strategic risk, and more reputational consequence than at any previous moment in the Sussex journey. And when commercial pressure rises at the same time institutional doors appear increasingly distant, the choices become brutally simple: reinvent, escalate, retreat, or return. But return to what? That may be the most emotionally complex question of all. Return to private life? Return to a smaller public role? Return to family dialogue? Or, as some commentators quietly speculate, return to a completely new identity that no longer depends on royal proximity at all? Because if the Sussex story has taught the world anything, it is that reinvention can generate extraordinary attention. But attention alone does not always create sustainability. So let me ask you directly, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. If you were Prince Harry, standing between family legacy, personal independence, financial pressure, and global scrutiny, what would you protect first? The brand, the marriage, the money, or the crown? And if you were Prince William, the future king, preparing to inherit one of the oldest institutions on earth, would you reopen old wounds? Or would you quietly protect the future at all costs? Because one thing now feels increasingly clear. This story is no longer simply about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. This story is about succession. This story is about legacy. This story is about whether the modern monarchy chooses emotion or survival. And perhaps the most fascinating part of all, that final decision may already have been made. If you enjoyed this deep royal investigation, subscribe now, turn on notifications, and join us for the next chapter, because when it comes to Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle, the biggest royal headlines are often the ones nobody sees coming, until it is already too late.